Samkele Maseko here from the SABC. When are you stepping aside as the Secretary General of the ANC after the Integrity Commission recommendation that you must step aside with immediate effect? Have you stepped aside, Mr. Magashule?
No, there is a process by the National Executive Committee of the ANC, which is the second highest decision-making body of the ANC after the National Conference. And I think the Integrity Commission was doing its work. Let's leave it there and leave the matter to the National Executive Committee. I'm still here.
From Eyewitness News. What do you make of the fact that it was leaked? I mean, we all knew what the Integrity Commission thought of what should happen. The turnaround was very quickly. It was leaked. Your general sense of the report was meant to be a private conversation, making it out to the public domain. What is your view of that?
Well, as I went to the integrity, I made it very clear that whatever we say, people can use PAIA to get access to that information, and therefore you can't get into certain details. And already there is somebody who has already challenged me to ensure that I give them the discussion, the recorded discussion of our interaction with the integrity. Of course, we're dealing with that matter. But for now, by now you should be knowing me that I respect the internal processes of the African National Congress. And let's allow those processes to take place, and I will then speak when I have to speak.
You're not bothered that it was leaked?
Well, that is ill-discipline, but I don't know how it was leaked. I'm sure that is left to the organization to decide and collectively take a decision. I can't want to enter that space and muddy the situation. Let me respect and say, well, surprising leakages, but we'll deal with all those things.
From Newsroom Africa. SG, I want to find out, when as the NEC are you meeting, and does this Integrity Commission report warrant any special sitting of the NEC?
The NEC will sit as scheduled. We'll sit sometimes in January. We continue to do our work because we are elected to continue doing our work as leaders as a collective. So let's wait until the NEC meets in the new year.
But Mr. Magashule, but the Integrity Commission didn't look at your conduct at all. In fact, in their findings, they only said that they're calling for the implementation of the NEC meeting decision, that anyone who's been charged with fraud or corruption should step aside from their position. And their main concern was that the NEC seems incapable of implementing this decision. So what are you looking for at the NEC, which would be different to what the Integrity Commission said? Is that not enough for you to step aside?
The National Executive Committee is an elected collective. It is the leadership, as I said, is the second highest decision-making body within the African National Congress. So you can't replace that structure, and that's why I'll take cue from that structure.
Do you disagree with the Integrity Commission report, or do you disagree with the NEC decision that those who are charged with corruption should step aside?
I don't want to enter that space. We have taken decisions, and all decisions of a national conference must be implemented, and they must be correctly interpreted so that we do what we are supposed to be doing.
Is there a contradiction between the National Conference resolution and that NEC decision, sir?
The highest decision-making body is the National Conference. I don't know whether there are any contradictions. We'll look into that one. So let me give space to the national officials and the National Executive Committee to do their work.
Mr. Magashule, just the last one from the SABC. Are you willing to step aside as the Secretary General of the ANC? In previous engagements with one commercial media channel in the country, you've said you will never step aside. In Bloemfontein, when you appeared in court on the charges you are facing currently, you said that you would never step aside being told by individuals or any leaders you were elected with. You would only step aside if the branches of the ANC in a special national conference asked you to step aside. Do you still stick to those words in Bloemfontein?
Why do you want me to repeat what I've said?
But are you willing to step aside?
No, don't repeat what I've said. You know how the organization works. You know what I've said. And let's leave it there. Let's give the National Executive Committee of the ANC the chance.
So you are saying, Mr. Magashule, that you will only step aside in a special national conference?
No, I'm just saying leave the ANC processes to the ANC.
Okay,
my last take, two quick questions. Sorry, guys. 2 quick questions. SG, what does this communicate to South Africans? You know, the ANC keeps kicking the 10 down the road. Now, the Integrity Commission's report, whether you want to get into it or not, does recommends that you must step aside. You say leave it to the NEC. There's no special sitting of the NEC. In fact, it'll get to this possibly March, February next year. What does this say to South Africans? Are you not concerned about the messaging that the ANC is sending to South Africans? That's one. Secondly, I asked you previously, are you going to be one of the officials that processes the report that says you must step aside? Are you still part of that process? Have you been excused? Have you been recused from it? Thank you.
There is the ANC leadership which will process whatever they have to do as the leadership of the ANC. And the tempo and pace of the ANC must never be determined by the media. The ANC must deal with its processes as an organization, as a liberation movement. The media must never pressure. And I think we should never get pressure from the media. We should take whatever time we want to take.
South Africans?
South Africans understand. South Africans are not the media. South Africans understand what is happening in the country.
No.
Okay.
We're not going to do that, guys. Can you just take the last
How did you
part,
feel
then
after you saw the
wrap it
leaked report, SG?
I'm still fine. Can you still see me? Very fine.
SG, just my last question to you. With the issue around Zandile Kumete, we've seen that the Integrity Commission has cleared her in KZN. One would say that the ANC continues to contradict themselves. These are resolutions from the NEC saying that members should step aside. Now you have this Integrity Commission, the National Integrity Commission, saying that you should step aside. But you have another situation in KZN where Zandile Kumete has been cleared despite these charges against her.
Let's leave it to the ANC structures. Until we get reports, we'll be able to comment.
Mr. Magashule, just finally, on the MK Council, they have said that you should leave the organization. Ike Morwe of the MK Council has said so. 2 members of the Integrity Commission, also on the MK Council, the MKMVA, have said they believe this is a serious conflict and therefore the Integrity Commission itself is compromised and shouldn't have adjudicated on your case because they had made these public calls. What's your take on this?
I don't deal with angry people. I'm a disciplined member. I don't know whether people are expressing their own individual positions. South Africa is democratic. Let anybody say whatever he says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you willing to step aside if the NEC asks you to step aside?
Thank you very much.
Let's deal with that matter when the NEC deals with it.
Okay, thank you very much.